Hello. How's it going, people? Welcome to the stream. Welcome. Hope everyone's had fantastic Wednesday. Everyone's doing great. Everyone's feeling great. And today on the stream, of course, Arsenal. What else? But today we're gonna talk about some new links, some potentially available players on the market. Some good news regarding injuries because there are some people who are back from injuries, which is kind of nice to see. To be honest, because this small rotation is really pissing me off. Not to be honest, it's not a big thing anyways, because we don't rotate even when we have all the players, because there's nobody to rotate with, kind of, in a way. But it is what it is. I'm gonna talk about all that, some bits and bobs here. There are random topics that definitely will be brought up during the discussions and talks. So if you could do me a favor, smash the like button if you haven't already. Smash it, caress it, destroy it, hammer it, slide it, however you want to do it. It takes a second. Helps a lot the stream, helps a lot the algorithm and all that good stuff. On top of that, if you're new around here, please subscribe. Also, it takes a second. We are on the road to 600 subscribers and then, of course, to big 1K. All that is in the works. And, of course, on top of all that, if you have anything, and I mean anything, you want to discuss, talk about on the stream, leave your thoughts down in the live chat, because we're definitely gonna tackle them sooner or later. Big up Luca Talks Ball. If you haven't already, go subscribe to him. Big up, hope you're doing well today. And of course Nathan is here as well, hope you're doing well as well. And he's already puking all over the place, vomiting expeditiously all over the place, because we are linked with Joao Pedro today, who we gonna get to in a split second. But we're gonna kick things off today with somebody else. We're gonna kick things off with Nuno Tavares. We are kicking things off today with Nuno Tavares. Basically, Arsenal signed him, didn't work out and everything. He played against Nottingham Forest in a cup, got yanked off in 32nd, 34th minute, and since then he has been loaned out to numerous places, to Lyon, Olympic Marseille, sorry. He's been loaned out to Forest, and now he's been loaned out to Lazio, where he actually had a very good season. Now Arsenal paid about 9 million for him, which is not a lot, let's be real. Like, the only issue is that we went to Portugal, and instead of Tavares, we signed Tavares instead of Nuno Mendes, who is at PSG right now. And the same way we can say we went to Portugal and signed Fabio Vieira instead of João Neves, who also, ironically enough, plays for PSG. So that is the only issue here, but it looks like Lazio is ready to pay the price. Arsenal are expected to start their summer transfer business with the exit of Nuno Tavares. 7 to 8 million to Lazio, which is more or less what we paid for him, a bit less if I'm not mistaken, but the big thing is the expectations that Lazio will activate the loan option to sign him permanently. It's a loan with obligation to buy, and there is also sell-on clause included in this deal, which is worth up to 25%, which is actually quite nice. I'm not gonna lie. For a change, there has been something properly done there, and it's actually quite amazing. I'm not gonna lie, to some extent, let's just put it that way, because if they sell him for about 40 million, we get 10 million extra, so kinda cannot complain about that. But yeah, his career didn't work out at Arsenal because Arsenal wanted to play him in one way, and that is a way which is never gonna work at Arsenal for him. Let's just put it that way. Yeah, Havertz is back. Nuno Mendes, the pocketer, dude, not for Arsenal. Yeah, and Joao Pedro, we're gonna get to that in a second. But yeah, in this regard, definitely, yeah, Tavares is leaving, which is good, getting some money already, which is kinda nice. On top of that, today in the morning, there was some rage bait from Sky Sport, by the way. Some rage bait from Sky Sports. Arsenal only have 100 million to spend on new signings this summer. Potential sales could increase the price. Now that is utter and total rage bait. That is not true. It's interesting only the fact that they are saying these things, because that arguably, if we fall flat on our asses in this window, will be the prime excuse, right? But the issue is in that regard, so it is what it is. 100 million, we have 10 times more. Let's be real, it's not 100 million, so don't pay too much attention to that. It's utter and total, well, crap, let's just put it that way. Yes, I know you're complaining 7 million, but even 27, I know you're complaining, but the fee is pretty much agreed upon, by the looks of things was agreed upon before we loaned him out. Nobody knew whether he's gonna hit the heights, whether he's gonna hit the lows, or what's gonna happen. It looks like Arsenal just wanted to get him off the books, let's just put it that way. So basically, that's what they did. They just went 7-8 million and then some sell-on clause if push comes to shove. That's why it's not 27 million, because based on the season Nuno Tavares had at Lazio, we definitely could have gotten about 20-25 million. They lucked out the fact that he hit the ground running. Obviously, injuries kind of stopped the progress of him in the team, but it is what it is. After that, he actually was somewhat decent once again. So it's quite nice in that regard. Oh, we are linked with everyone. Yeah, and that is the case. It looks like it doesn't matter who the sporting director is, we're gonna get linked with everyone, because Arsenal gives you clicks, Arsenal gives cachet and some ammunition for the agents to spice up the price or the wages or whatever they want. So it's always gonna work in that regard. Yeah, that is total cap. Stop the cap. We didn't spend Shin last summer. Exactly. Lokonga always damn injured. A man has injured Yasu Kirsten at the hospital. Yeah, they are. Lokonga at Sevilla this season has had 4 hamstring injuries. 4 at Sevilla. And also, the last season he had 2. So he has had 6 injuries in 2 seasons, and all of them have been hamstring injuries. Surely his hamstrings have been made out of paper by now. Surely. But anyways, speaking of Gyokeres, which is one of the hot topics regarding Arsenal these days, because Arsenal's fan base, ironically enough, is quite split. From what I see on Twitter, on group chats and stuff like that, on Reddit as well, by the way, and even on YouTube to some extent, basically. Because there's a part of Arsenal's fan base that wants Gyokeres, and there is also a part of Arsenal's fan base that wants Benjamin Šeško for some weird goddamn reason. But it is what it is, obviously. But yeah, Sporting are ready to do business in the summer for around 58 million pounds. 58 million pounds. As I said a few streams ago, his value decreases by the week. Because it was 100, then it was 90, then it was 70, then it was 60, and now it's 58. For some weird goddamn reason. Having lowered their original asking price from the 83. See, the price is just going down by week. As reported by transfer.com, this 58 million figure was agreed with the player 6 months ago. Basically in January or something like that, they had, even the last summer, I think they had the gentleman's agreement that if he doesn't leave now for the release clauses, then in the summer he will get sold, most likely, but for a value that basically Sporting deemed good enough to be sold at. It's not definitely the release clauses, but the arguably highest bidder, but who knows. But yeah, it is what it is. Speaking of him now, how much is it? I don't know. We paid for Lokonga 17 million. Based on the fact that he doesn't play. Well, he plays, but he's injured quite a bit this season and everything. I would say about 10 at best, maybe. That's that is the weird thing. Although I would trust Berta to get some money off him 100%. Some positive news. Some positive news regarding Arsenal. I'm not gonna lie, this is actually some positive news. I'm just gonna say it right now. Thomas Partey is willing to reject lucrative offers from Saudi Arabia, with his preference to be sign a new contract at Arsenal. The player hopes an agreement can be found and would ideally like the situation to be resolved before Arsenal's final game of the season. So a week and a half, basically. He wants the situation to be resolved within a week and a half. Now, this comes with two instances. Basically, first is how long deal he wants and what kind of deal he wants. Because I don't want him to be on the same wage as he is right now, which is 200 grand a week. I genuinely would try and negotiate a deal where his wages would be less. I'm not gonna lie. Also, the fact is we haven't had Partey injury-free, more or less, for 2 seasons in a row. He's either injured for a season or he's not injured for a season. That's what we have seen mostly from him. So given the fact that and circumstances that he has been mostly fit this season, it doesn't look like it's gonna be too promising this next season, obviously. So to basically cut their losses in a way, if you can say that, and everything, I would really hope Arsenal would renegotiate the deal, but in a way that it basically lowers his wages overall. But if Partey stays, that is a positive thing. No matter how you look at it, for me, it's a positive thing because Arsenal need midfielders. I'm not gonna lie. And the first things first, if we sign Zubimendi and Partey goes, our midfield is way too weak and way too small. Even with Partey staying, I think our midfield is a bit too short. But then again, this comes into play. We are not too short in terms of a big player. We need a player who can play that six, but actually he can kind of be the understudy of Thomas Partey, at least in my opinion. He can be a bit different, maybe a bit younger, so he can try, sleep and learn. Let's just put it that way. If we sell injury Yasu, well, Tomiyasu, Jesus, Lokonga, Tavares, Zinchenko, how much money would we generate? Now, the biggest issue is selling Tomiyasu is almost impossible because he, by the looks of things, is injured till December this year, so still for half a year. So I'm not too sure anyone will take a punt on him. So maybe in January, but for now it doesn't look like a viable option. Gabriel Jesus is something similar in that regard, but not to such an extent. He'll be back sooner, 100% by the looks of things. But selling him again, the 245 grand a week, definitely will pull off some damage in terms of Arsenal. Getting rid of Lokonga might happen for about, I would say, 7 to 10 million, given his situation that he hasn't played much, he's out of sorts and everything. We paid 17. If we can get a half or a bit more, that would be nice. So let's just say 8-9 million, right? Zinchenko, I don't know, 25, 30 million. Let's just say 30 million for Zinchenko. For those two, we can get around 40. Tavares, as we know, we go about 8. That's about 48. That's nearly 50 million, right? Now, if we include the wages and everything, it kind of accumulates up to about 60 million, something like that, I would say. Not 60. About 58 million, right? So if we manage to actually sell in this summer Jesus somehow, right, we actually could do some good things. I don't think we're gonna though. That for me is the biggest issue. The injuries these two guys have in Tomiyasu and Jesus is the biggest issue and biggest worry I have at Arsenal, because those will hold the chances of us selling him. Now the fact that the Arsenal rejected Palmeiras about 40 million offer last summer for Jesus looks like the dumbest thing on the planet Earth, because we are not gonna get 40 million for Jesus once again. It's a bit different. But yeah, I guess, as always, we were a step late. Obviously, if we maybe at the time, last summer, we had Berta, it would be a bit different, but it is what it is. Personally, if we don't get Hausen, by Hato and Diomande for defensive squad depth, Baleba, Xavi Simons and Zubimendi sadly for midfield. No, sadly, I think that's Zubimendi only. Squad depth, Gittins, Rodrigo, Gyokeres, Sesko attack and overall squad. You know, you just pretty much described, let's just say 50, 40, that's 90, about 40 more, 130, 180, 240, 240, 270, 280, 280, about 50, 60, 280, 330, 330, 400, 410, Gyokeres. You just described about 450 if you add Sesko. You genuinely just described 500 million more. Arsenal are never gonna do that, even with the sales. And for Arsenal to sign 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 players in one window, that will never ever happen as well. 10 players in one window, Arsenal, never gonna happen. June 25th, Mikel Arteta sacked from Arsenal Football Club. Where you have heard that? I need some intel. You are 90k right now or what? Where have you heard that? Or just drop 2 academy players like Barca in midfield and defense? That could be the case. Generally, that would be the case. Big up G Wheels. Why we are not trying to sign Havertz and players of this standard? I swear Arsenal under Arteta is a little bro club. Arteta only want mediocre players, hence mediocre results. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised we are not in for Havertz, but the biggest thing is Havertz plays where Odegaard plays, and we all know that Arteta basically has adopted Odegaard like his own child, so he's never gonna get dropped. Unless Andrea Berta goes into the team and says, Odegaard, you are getting sold, and we're gonna go and try and sign Havertz. That is never ever gonna happen. That is the biggest issue. That genuinely is the biggest issue. And speaking of words, by the way, I have it saved somewhere if I can find it. Where is words? Where is words? Where is words? Holy crap, I have a lot to talk about today. My voice is gonna kill me. This is big up Ali. Big up Ali. Look at these stats. Look at these two stats. Open play XG, right? XG, it is what it is. It's a bit of a scam, but we kinda gonna pass that. Liverpool has 62.19 XG from open play this season in Premier League. Arsenal have 40.66. 21.5 goals less, right? 25.5 goals less. Now, based on these two numbers on your screen, guess which of these two teams are in for Florian Wirtz this summer? Seriously, guess. And I'm gonna tell you right now, it is not Arsenal. It is Liverpool. It is Liverpool. Apparently, Florian Wirtz's parents or father or whatever was yesterday at Manchester to meet with City. Also met with Liverpool. They both are going in for him. Bayer Leverkusen don't want to sell to Bayern Munich, so it's gonna be a massive shit show during summer. Who is gonna get him, obviously. But yeah, Liverpool are going in for Florian Wirtz. That's how nuts it is. A team that, based on this season's performance, doesn't need one. But if they sell Nunez as they want to, maybe even Diaz as they potentially could, then signing him makes a lot of sense. I'm not gonna lie. In that regard. However, the big thing is, why are we not in the conversation? That is the biggest question. Why are we going for some subpar, mediocre, bum-ass players? It's like Arteta was a bang average player in his career. So Arteta goes for bang average players. That's what it looks like. Big up views on sport. Big up. Hope you're doing well today, my bro. Hope everyone's doing fine as well. As he says, if you haven't already, smash the like button and subscribe if you're new around here. And go subscribe to Views on Sport as well. Top guy, top lad, not a top gooner, so that's always a positive. No, Arteta is only here to make us into Meme FC and Netflix FC and the club next to Rob's play. Yeah, basically. You might be surprised. Big up Burton. Surprised about what? I'm curious about. And who is that in the picture of your... It looks like Jason Richardson, I'm not gonna lie. A bit looks like Jason Richardson. Everybody coming from Gyokeres, really? Everybody coming? Yeah. Gyokeres, market opportunity. Last summer, 18 million euros. 18 million euros. Borussia Dortmund signed him from Stuttgart. Why? Why we didn't sign him? That's you? Oh, big up. Not gonna lie, it's so small, it looked like the old school Warriors jersey and Jason Richardson doing the Statue of Liberty dunk. Not gonna lie, big up to you. You might be surprised by all the players Arsenal bring in this season. I'm not gonna lie, I'm surprised by the players Arsenal bring in every goddamn season. Because we always sign someone like half the fan base, if not more, 90% of the fan base have never heard of. And 9 times out of 10, that player always flops. Mikel Arteta has made, 32 signings in his tenure at Arsenal. And about 5, maybe 6 have worked out. So basically, by his logic, every 5th player or every 6th player he signs is gonna work. Right? It is actually kind of worrying, isn't it? If you put in that regard. He's gonna sign, let's just say, 5 players this summer, only 1 is gonna work. We're screwed once again. Like it cannot fly. I hope Andrea Berta that just turns screws on Mikel Arteta, says shut the fuck up. You're gonna sign what I wanna sign, and that's about it. You're gonna deal with that. Basically, hold that. Literally. Yeah. Gyokeres, yeah, 40 goals this season. Him and Harry Kane gonna fight for Golden Boot. Yeah, ironically enough, the Golden Boot trophy is a cannon, so good for Harry Kane. Big up Luca. Yeah, big up G Wills. Hope you're doing well. I think the only hope we have for our beloved club is Berta. He's the only one who can bring us great players. Yeah, only hope for Arsenal to sign proper players this summer, next summer, and even in the future, right? Is the fact that Andrea Berta basically can overrule Mikel Arteta on the final decisions on who we bring in. Because we all have heard the stories that even last summer about Merino and about Calafiori. There were arguments and disagreements in the hierarchy that Merino is not the right profile, Calafiori is too injury prone, and he wouldn't fit the system. There were arguments in the hierarchy. And ultimately, they didn't want to sign him, but Mikel Arteta said, I want these guys, and they basically signed them. So Mikel Arteta, at the end of the day, has the final say on who he gets. He has signed pretty much everyone he wants, and I really hope Andrea Berta is the straight opposite of that. He generally goes to Mikel Arteta and says, hold that, you're gonna get the players I want to sign, and you either deal with it or you get out. If you can't handle the heat, get out of the kitchen at the end of the day. Genuinely, that is my hope. That is the only hope I can hold on to this season, basically. Some random Arsenal news. David Raya next season is gonna wear the number 1 shirt as a goalkeeper. Shocking. But Ethan Vanieri is gonna take the number 22 shirt. Apparently, other players are not gonna change their numbers for next season. Dinhausen. Real Madrid sent formal contract proposal to Dinhausen and his camp today, according to Fabrizio Romano. Talks ongoing to sign the Spanish centre-back. Negotiations continue while Chelsea, Arsenal and Liverpool remain ready to enter the race in case of complications. Real Madrid remain players' priority. Well, good fucking luck. It looks like Arsenal are not getting him. On random side of news, and basically in some random yellow page random side of news, it's being reported that Arsenal have a verbal agreement with Club Bruges, another Belgian club, CB Joel Ordóñez from Ecuador. However, PSG could potentially still convince him to join them. Basically, he's from the same country as Pacho that plays for PSG. Now, I'm not gonna lie, if you watch Belgian League, I beg you let me know is this center back good or not. Because I have never ever seen him play in my life. Seriously, I was watching Club Bruges play some random games this season, and I never paid attention who anyone was, because it was just a game on in the background for me, and like a filler game between 2 Premier League games, or games between Premier League and Serie A, or La Liga and Serie A, depends on what I was watching at that time. So, if anyone knows who Joel Ordóñez from Ecuador is and how he is as a center back, I beg of you, let me know in comments or in the live chat or comments below if you're watching this playback. So he's 21 years old. Well, that's a great start. He has played 23 games in Belgian League, has 1 goal. Champions League, he has played 12 games, started every single one. Okay, moving on. He plays for Ecuador, okay. He can play right center back mostly, and he can play as a right back as well. Let's focus on center back as a backup for Saliba. Let's just focus on that. He's 188 centimeters tall, which is about 6'2". 6'2", 6'3", which is not that bad, I'm not gonna lie. Not that bad. He's been there for the longest time. He comes from Independiente, signed from the club for 1.5 million. Interesting. He's been there for 1 season, right? No, 2 seasons. He's been there for 2 seasons. Not gonna lie, no idea who he is, but allegedly Arsenal are linked with him. So it is what it is. Winger news at Arsenal from El Nacional. Before that, let's go to the chat. But y'all forgetting Arteta managing them, right? Y'all see what he does. Good players, Nelly, Trossard. That is the biggest thing. For me personally, it doesn't matter who we get. Unless Arteta opens up his mind, changes his ways, how he wants to play, and actually does things like he should be doing, not what he wants to do, but as he should be doing, it doesn't matter who we sign, because the team is gonna fail either way. We all see the type of players Arteta sign. If he is the one in charge of signings for this summer, we are screwed. Yeah, we are. We are effed if Arteta is in the main role. Genuinely, we are. So I really hope that Andrea Berta has the final say. And there are some rumors coming from Arsenal and everything that there is not massive, but a bit of a friction between Berta and Mikel Arteta in terms of signings, because one wants one player, other one wants another player, and they have had a bit of a word exchanges, some a bit minor arguments about this stuff, which has ended in Berta saying that we are on the same level, but at the end of the day, I make the final decisions. Given the fact that Arteta has openly admitted that he used to have the final say, and the fact that Arteta doesn't mention him in interviews, we don't see him in pictures together almost whatsoever, I would say that Berta has a lot of power, and Mikel Arteta, it's pissing him off to maximum extent. And I think also Andrea Berta wouldn't sign for Arsenal in general if he wasn't promised some specific clauses and some guarantees when he joins. And definitely one of them probably was Mikel Arteta cannot intervene with his main tasks. I would assume so. Because if it's the same, if he comes under same conditions as Edu was here, so might as well kept Edu then. I'm not gonna lie, it would make no difference at the end of the day. Why not number 10 for 1 year? I think number 10 is being left open for another player. Real Madrid will get House and Real always get what they want. Yeah, well, they wanted Yoro, but Yoro didn't want to wait. So that's on his part though. Yeah, exactly. Who is Ordóñez? I know him solely because I have heard his name randomly, and when I play FIFA. On occasion, when I do career modes and stuff like that, I know him only because of that. Besides that, never heard of him in my life. I don't watch that Jupiter Pro League, yeah, but Pacho is him and he's a good as Pacho, then yeah, could be quite nice. No more Nico Williams. If it ain't Rodrigo, Gittens on Derzai Doué or Barcola, I would assume. I don't want to hear it. Yeah. Yeah, Milan and Madrid are playing today. I think Madrid game starts in a minute. Yeah, Berta, get him out of that shit manager. Yeah, that is the biggest thing. But yeah, back to the matters at hand in terms of transfers. Nico Williams has his heart set on a move to Premier League, with both Arsenal and Chelsea in the race. He has already begun to say goodbye to some of his athletic club teammates. That is coming out straight from Spain, from El Nacional, and El Nacional in general is a very 50-50 type of reports, usually from my experience, since I've been doing these transfer shows and everything and followed. So basically you have to take their statements with a pinch of salt. Now, if this turns out to be true, right, and he is doing that, for love of God, I beg of you, sign for Chelsea. Genuinely sign for Chelsea. And to be honest, Chelsea kind of need a left winger, because they're going to get rid of Sterling. Mudryk has the ban and everything. And yeah, it would actually work very well for them. And that would open up our chance of signing someone else. Hell no. If Chelsea want him, run away from this crap now. Yeah, exactly. If Chelsea want him, get him. I don't want him. Big up, coach. Big up, hope you're doing well. Yeah, exactly. Pull-out game strong. Arsenal have to demonstrate their pull-out game, and hopefully it's very strong. No lingering, no dripping, no nothing. Just pull it out and run away. Now, and it continues. According to transfer.com, Arsenal would prioritize again move for Nico Williams over Rodrigo. Even though the Brazilian is inching increasingly closer to a summer exit from Real Madrid. Now, all I'm gonna say, take this also with massive pinch of salt. Because Nico Williams was linked with Arsenal last summer. And it's pretty much evident that Edu and Mikel Arteta were working on this deal. Which means, same as Zubimendi. I strongly believe same as Zubimendi. It was worked together with Edu and Eito and Arteta. So I strongly believe that, for example, Zubimendi is not Andrea Berta signing. And even if we sign Nico Williams, right, he would also not be Andrea Berta signing. However, if we sign Rodrigo, then I'm 100% sure that it is actually Andrea Berta signing. If not, what crap is Williams over me, Clutchman? Exactly. That's what I'm very furious about. Yeah, Rodrigo is clutch. Big game goal scorer. Like, remember, he came on as a sub for Real Madrid against Man City. 2 goals in 5 minutes. Bang. Real Madrid go into the next round and eventually win the Champions League. Some news from Arsenal open training today. Arsenal had an open training session today. Gabriel Magalhaes and Jurriën Timber, they didn't train. They are not available, which looks like Gabriel obviously is out till next season. But Timber is also out. It looks like he's not going to play against Newcastle. And I think Arsenal, as it was reported a few days ago, are going to play it safe as well. And I think Timber is not going to play, maybe even not against Southampton. So they both are pretty much out. Now, on the other hand, Kai Havertz, Declan Rice, and Leandro Trossard, all three of them are back in training. Now, how many minutes, more specifically, Kai Havertz is gonna get, that will tell a lot, I would assume, about the situation of striker department regarding Arsenal. Declan Rice is back, which is kind of nice. How many minutes he will get will be interesting to see. Trossard, obviously, that I don't think that's nothing major. It was something minor. But Kai Havertz is back. And that, for me, is a big question mark right now. How much that will affect our striker signings? Obviously, it shouldn't affect at all. The issue is, we will sign one striker this summer. If we can sign a striker, I think it's gonna be only one. Because Kai Havertz is on 285 grand a week. And I don't believe Arsenal have the luxury, I know, they don't have the luxury to put him on the bench as a rotational player on that kind of wages. So, unless he wants to renegotiate his contract, but in his situation, who would? Or Andrea Berta basically pulls out the sledgehammer and basically sells him out of nowhere, I think we at best are looking at one striker this summer. Who? Time only will tell. So we will have to wait and see, of course. We will have to wait and see. Big up, Abby. Hope you're doing well. Berta has been at the training ground keeping an eye on everything, and at matches he might even tell stubborn Arteta, yeah, you need to change your playing style for the Signs to excel. Exactly. Because let's be real. The 22-23 season was the prime example what this team is made of. Because this team we have, as good as we are defensively, is made for attacking. And 22-23 season, when Odegaard had double-digit goals and assists, Saka was on fire, Martinelli looked like he's gonna genuinely hit new heights. It looked like it's gonna be phenomenal. Arsenal balled the 8-point lead, Mikel Arteta basically shit his pants, got scared, and basically changed the tactics 180 degrees to the opposite side, total control, domination, and defense. Now, in ideal scenario, Arteta would find the balance between those two, with a blitzing attack and rock-solid defense, but he doesn't know how to do it by the looks of things. And Andrea Berta basically needs to tell him that either you find your way, how you played before, or, well, your days are numbered at the end of the day. Let's just say it as it is. Big Gabby Timber, they will come back next season, I would assume. Big up Hyper Protagonist. Big up. Hope you're doing well today. Will we hear that? Oh, dude. Shabe is quite good to Shabe. I assume you mean Shade from Brentford, right? Clivert can play midfield as an 8, 10, and can play both wings. In which universe Justin Clivert can play as a number 8? I don't see that whatsoever. He's not good enough to play an 8, in my opinion. Ruiz, come on, man, he'll be on a mythness. Yeah, Martinelli as well. If there was a stat between the traditional top 6 sides, right? Again, he has 1 goal against, I think, Spurs, 2 against Chelsea, 2 against City, 3 against United, and 8, I kid you not, 8 against Liverpool. Diomande Hato defensive signings. I'm not gonna lie, we need to worry more about attack and midfield at first, then we can pay our attention to defense. That for me main priority is the attack, because over the last 5 years, and specifically in the last 3 years, since Aubameyang has left 3.5, our attack has been neglected so much, ran into the ground, with no refreshments, no nothing, that it's actually embarrassing to look at. Because if we look on our attack, especially when Saka was out, and even with Saka in it, it's very hard to find reasons why why we have very good attack. We don't. We genuinely don't. Let's be real. For example, Villa has better attack. Newcastle has better attack. Brentford has better attack. Crystal Palace arguably has better attack. Nottingham Forest have better attack. Many teams have better attacks than Arsenal. Let's not kid ourselves here. Gyokeres, Sesko, Rodrigo, and Cherky. So 30, 110, 110, 190. And that's 250 million. Around something like that. But as I said, we are not signing two strikers. We are not. With Jesus still being here on 245 a week, and Havertz still being here, we are not signing two strikers. I don't believe Arsenal will do that whatsoever. Unless they rip up the contracts or sell them, in this summer window specifically, we are not going to do that, in my opinion. We need our own... Yeah. Too many teams attack solo or a whole... Yeah, exactly. And that is the biggest thing. And those teams, some of the teams I named, obviously are in top 10. Or top 6 or top 7, whatever. But there are also teams... And I kid you not, mid-table. Genuinely mid-table. Like 12th, 13th or stuff like that, who have better attack. And that's what's worrying and painful to look at. Especially given the fact that Arsenal, the Arsenal I grew up on, was known to having phenomenal attack. That is the worst part. Here we go. Joao Pedro. So Liverpool, Arsenal and Chelsea all are showing interest in Joao Pedro ahead of possible summer transfer. Arsenal are understood to be a long-term admirers, and Telegraph Sport understands that they have explored the possibility of signing him in previous seasons. Now, first things first. This again stinks of Edu, 100%. Because have you noticed that there is nothing linking him for us this summer window? Nothing. There is some interest of a possible summer transfer. But see, Arsenal have been possibility of signing him in previous seasons. That was when Edu was here. I don't believe that Andrea Berta would go for anyone like that. Given our current situation, I don't believe he would do anything, shape or form like that. It just doesn't sound like Andrea Berta signing in general. If you look at the players Andrea Berta has signed for Atletico Madrid, right, it genuinely doesn't look like Andrea Berta signing whatsoever. Mbuemo and Wissa combined have more GA than our whole attack. Mind our attack than our midfield included. Seriously, look at this. Mbuemo this season in Premier League. Would be nice if it actually loaded. See, Mbuemo, 18 goals, 8 assists, 26 points. 26 points. Juan Vissa. So 26 plus 22. 48 points. Between those two guys, they have 48 GA. Between those two. Between Wissa and Mbuemo, they have 48 GA. 48 GA. Like, and that's 36 goals. 36 goals. Look at this. 36 goals for those two, right? 36 goals. Oh, shove it. 36 goals between those two. Arsenal have scored 66 goals this season. 66 goals. which at the end of the day means that Visa and Buemo combined have scored together more than half of what Arsenal as a team have managed to score this season in Premier League. And then there's still Arsenal fans who think this is not a regression. Some random players out of nowhere. There is still hope and everything. And they think we are entitled of winning it. We should be winning it, all this stuff. Buemo and Visa together have 36 goals. Arsenal have 66 this whole season. Those two guys alone have more than half of the goals Arsenal have scored as a team this season. What are we doing here? Hell no, Gyokeres, let's go. I want Gyokeres. What every player that scores against we should buy now. Basically, that's what it looks like. Our midfield is more... Nah, I'm not gonna say that. And this 25-26 brings back the prime Arsenal attack memories with Alexis Sanchez and Ozil. Dude, if we could sign a player of the caliber of Alexis Sanchez this summer, I would be very excited. Because one thing that Arsenal are missing is that X factor. That one signing that genuinely makes every single Arsenal fan just jump out of their seats straight into the sky, into stratosphere, into space. Because remember the hype when we signed Ozil. Remember the hype when we signed Alexis Sanchez. Remember the hype to some extent when we signed Aubameyang. I haven't felt that hype since those days. And that was almost a decade ago, by the way. That was almost a decade ago. Aubameyang was 7 years ago, 8 years ago, something like that. Not even to mention Ozil or Alexis. Like, no thank... Freaking hell, I'm coming down with something again. No thank you to Pedro and Cunha. Those aren't signings to move the pre-needle this much as in system. Pedro becomes Eddie, 6 to 10 goals a season. How much better than Trossard? Exactly. Exactly. Personally, I don't want Joao Pedro near Arsenal. If we were playing maybe different system, right? For example, you mentioned Mateus Cunha, right? You don't want Mateus Cunha. I guarantee you, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is just the way I see this statement coming from your coach, right? If we were playing the type of football we played in 22-23 season, you would sign Mateus Cunha. For about 40-45 million, you wouldn't be against that. But given the situation that Mikel Arteta changed the system every single season, and we now are playing total control, defensive, park the bus, dead football, Mateus Cunha doesn't fit us whatsoever, for example. That's the way I see it. Trossard got more goals and assists than Nico Williams. Exactly. Exactly. So where were we? Let me refresh this so some of this disappears. Andres Santos, we talked about it. I don't care. We talked about this already. Here we go. Here we go. Bro, at this point, I'm wondering if this club is just dumb as hell, or I can't realize how bad this attack, midfield, and how bad the club and team has gone. The only team not winning Prem or any trophies. Yeah, that is painful. That is genuinely painful. We are the only top Big Six side who has no chance of winning anything this season. Sideways and backwards, Cunha will be in party role half the time. I know that. I don't talk about right now. Listen to me. Listen, I'm talking about 22-23 season. Based on the statement you made right here, right? If we were playing the football the way you played 22-23 season, and we were linked with Mateus Cunha then, I strongly believe you would sign him, because he fits that system and that style to a T. But given we play what you're describing here, sideways, backwards, shoehorn, backwards to defender and sleep and all that stuff, he wouldn't fit whatsoever. Man like Miles Lewis Skelly. I don't only look at GA because Isak 12 goals max in La Liga. Yeah, I get that. They're different types. I totally get that. I know. I don't look at GA almost whatsoever. I do look at GA, but I don't make GA as one of my main reference points many times. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I read the message a bit too late. Yeah, that's my fault. I tend to waffle sometimes. I'm kind of catching Arteta-titis and I tend to waffle at times. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, I do agree. Back in that season, yeah, exactly. That is the biggest thing. It solely depends on system and style we play and the players we are linked with. Because it's all great that we are linked, for example, with some insane players. But if we don't play the style that fits that player, it's never gonna work. That's the same way how we misused Nicolas Pepe at Arsenal, for example. We played completely wrong system and style to basically cater the way he loves to play, because the way he played at Lille was almost near opposite what he played at Arsenal. Yay, bless me. We play pass back to Roya, run left wing right. Yeah, we just pass it all over the place. Exactly like Mohamed Kudus would cook back then, but not anymore. Exactly, that is the case. There are many of those. And I strongly believe that if we had Nicolas Pepe for that 22-23 season, he would be phenomenal, to be honest, in it. But the system we play right now, with the system we played before 22-23 season, he doesn't fit whatsoever. It's to some extent it feels like it's a specific time, specific place, and if you hit the right time, it kind of works. The issue with this is we all see what is working. Mikel Arteta doesn't, because he changes it year in, year out, confuses himself, the players, the fans to some extent, well, top Gunners obviously, and and everyone watching, and nobody knows what is the best course of action in every transfer window, because sometimes I go into the season and I watch the preseason, I look at the new signings we have made, and I just look and think, why the hell have we even signed him? He doesn't fit any way into the system you are showing me we gonna play this season based on preseason games. Like, it's a big mystery, you know. He played right wing back, bro. What's wrong with this damn club? We're gonna cuss out people for that. Well, I'm not cussing anyone out. But yes, Kelly apparently has the highest ground duel win rate among Premier League fullbacks this season, which is kind of nice, I'm not gonna lie. If he could improve that to like 80%, he could actually maybe be a left back, you know? Maybe. Genuinely maybe. Like Merino, exactly, like Merino. Like, what does he do in the team? Be careful what you wish for. Oh, bloody hell. Big up the name. That is some deep, deep mental ass name. I've had enough. 6 years, 750 million spent. No striker, no trophies. Exactly. Big up to you. Big up. Arteta out. Big up to you. Exactly. Bro, cooked Salah, not gonna lie. In the second half, yeah. In the first half, it was kind of the other way around. And PSG also, they pretty much in Parc de Paris, Parc de Paris also, they targeted Skelly's side, and we saw that it was genuinely an inevitable situation that he's gonna get cooked, and he got many times. Finally, someone who has common sense. Any other club? Exactly. Think about it. No, for example, we can even talk about the Big Six. Any of the Big Six teams would keep Mikel Arteta for 5 years after 750 million spent, with genuinely only win the dog, some lemon juice, and some coins pickpocketed from its own players. No one. Spurs would have sacked him in the second season. United maybe even in the first season. City wouldn't even sign him in the first place. Liverpool doesn't fit the style. They don't give a crap anyways. And who is the Chelsea? They don't have patience. They don't win. First 2 seasons. See ya. Peace out. PSG, yeah. Marlon never rated him highly. Exactly. Big up to you. You are a wake one. Do I dealing with our whole defense? Exactly. Arteta also killed off Aubameyang. Yeah. He had him playing left wing back and getting red cards. Exactly. Exactly. Big up G Wills. Arteta inherited Golden Boot winning Aubameyang. Aubameyang on silver platter handed Mikel Arteta FA Cup. And what was the reward? Totally screwing him over to some extent. And that's just unacceptable. Unacceptable. Chelsea could. They would sack him. Arteta has ruined every single attacker he has had in this team. They usually have maybe one good season or half a season, and then they disappear from planet Earth. Martinelli had one. Trossard had one. Havertz had one. Jesus had a half a season. And that's about it. Well, Saka is Saka. He has his performances, Saka, right? His performances compared to when he just started playing have dropped massively. The thing about Saka is he just gets GA solely due to the fact he is that good in the game. He is good. He is better than most of pretty much every single player and attacker we have in the team. Basically, we rely on him to create a moment of brilliance. And based on some crosses he puts into the box and everything, if we actually had a proper striker, we actually would have scored about 10-15 more goals. More at least we... To be honest, winning the FA Cup, to some extent, was the worst thing that could have happened. Because that instantly bought Mikel Arteta 2 more years. And after that, we all saw what happened. Patience, he needs this, he needs that. Then we finished second, balling 8-point lead. We're moving in the right direction, and that's all she wrote since then. Let's go now. We can't wait for everyone, bro. Start backing league. Do you think Chelsea will sack Maresca? There are talks about that. I'm not gonna lie. There are some vague rumors flying around the social networks that Maresca could get the boot, by the way. There are. And there are also talks that Roma are looking at Maresca as a replacement for Ranieri, who's gonna leave them at the end of the season. City will come back strong. Yeah, they're gonna sign Havertz by the looks of things. They are going for Reinders from AC Milan as well. They're gonna spend another 200-300 million this summer, and they will be back up there. Let's be real. And not even to mention Newcastle, who will have billions to spend. Not know what's gonna happen with Villa, obviously. At some point, some other team is gonna pop out of nowhere, and it's not gonna be a title race for Arsenal. It's not gonna be it's gonna be a top 4 race, and to some extent, we actually might be just lucky if we finish in the top 4. We somehow are managing to finish 3rd or 4th this season in a 2-horse race. How does that even work? Blow price striker at camp, 28 GA. Woo. Marlon clueless, mate. Our fan base also deluded. Wonder why the fans hate us. Yep. Trossard was good at Brighton. I remember him in FPL killing. Yeah, Trossard was fantastic for Arsenal in that half a season. Remember when we were 8 points clear and we signed him instead of Mudryk? But again, he was fantastic because, oh wait, we played attacking expensive football. As soon as we start controlling and everything, slow everything down, everyone disappears. It's like Harry Houdini. He goes out there and just poof, nothing works anymore. And that's how it's working at Arsenal at the moment. And this is exactly the worst season. Saka gets GA because we can only pass the right lopsided team. Exactly. And Saka is that good that eventually he's gonna squeeze out even juice out of genuinely desert dry sponge somehow. We are nearly FC. If Chelsea don't get Champions League, then they will. Yeah, pretty much. AFTV is, yeah, imagine if Saka had less defensive duty. Imagine if all of our attackers had less defensive duties. We actually could hit teams on counter very efficiently. But we cannot, because by the time we have run the pitch into the final third, everyone's back. We have nobody to pass to. We pass it backwards to Partey or someone, or Odegaard, who is inevitably going to pass it back to Partey, or Raya even. And the momentum is gone, and again... Let's go. Shoehorn, you're like the... it's a never-ending story. Hell no, if they're Havertz, they could... Yeah, it looks like City might get Havertz. Where are you from? I'm from Latvia. I like Flick and Inzaghi. True, I wanted Flick. I wanted Inzaghi. Oh, but all the top Gunners. You want Flick? Oh, but what he did with Germany. Inzaghi, oh, but Inter won't let him go. Inzaghi at Inter Milan is on 6 million. Arteta gets 15 million. 2.5 times more, and for what? I would back Arteta not based on him winning a trophy, if I could see some sort of tactical brilliance, player development, etc., but not seeing enough transformation, we have become stats team. Exactly. If I would understand backing Arteta if you could see the player development, growth, and all this stuff, but nada. Exactly. I want trophies as well. Big up, be careful what you wish for. And I'm wishing for trophies, and nothing's happening. Get me Leao, Isak, or Gyokeres this summer. How about get me, for example, Leao and Gyokeres? How about that? This summer, spend money, don't sign players and make them... Exactly, don't make shift again. Arteta killed Pepe playstyle. Yeah, he absolutely ruined it. 100%. Arteta doesn't even deserve the job. 50 million for what? Fucking memes and ever calling us Netflix FC. Exactly. Arteta killed Pepe. Arteta basically is ruining the attack. Let's just put it that way. Okay. Talk to me now, chat. Chat, this is to you. Xavi Simons' decision has been made. He's ready to leave Leipzig this summer. Plan confirmed as reported in the recent months. He's ready for a new chapter with top Premier League clubs and Bayern all attentive to his situation. Leipzig are aware of the player's plan. Talk to me. Xavi Simons to Arsenal. I don't know how much though. I genuinely don't know how much. How much is he worth by default on Transfermarkt? That is the big question. He's worth 70 million euros, which is about 61 million pounds, if I'm not mistaken. Euro to pounds. Let me quickly do the conversion. Euros, right? 70 million is 59 million pounds. 59 million pounds Xavi Simons on base value according to Transfermarkt. So most likely it would be about 55 to 65 million. Would you say no? Would you be happy if Arsenal signed Xavi Simons? He can play number 10 and he can play right wing. I'm not gonna lie, I would take him. Big up Luke, I'm good, hope you're doing well today. I don't want Xavi. Sorry. As you can see, I'm quite ill. Blows hot and cold and it's a bit of journeyman. Doesn't strike me as one to fight for the badge. As the badge defensive pass. Definitely a pass. Yeah, that is one thing, yeah. I would take Eze over Simons. I'm not gonna lie. Eze also is about 50-60 million this summer. And it can be paid in 3 or 4 installments apparently. Right? That could definitely work in Arsenal's favor. However, I don't mind Arsenal signing Xavi Simons if it's possible. Definitely would not mind. One thing I love about Xavi Simons, he doesn't shy away from the ball. He's forward-thinking, attacking. And that would work as well. Xavi Simons is also a winger. See, you say Eze is more of a winger. Eze more is a like left-right winger or number 10. Same goes for Simons. He is also right winger / 10. It's like both. Would take him over. Yeah, I would take Simons over Odegaard every day of the week. Every day of the week. Exactly, he can carry the ball, dribble into space, and he has a somewhat decent shot on him as well, definitely. Xavi doesn't play at the club more than a year and half, goes missing in games. That is the biggest thing. He's very inconsistent. That is one thing I will give to you, coach, that Xavi Simons is inconsistent. That is one big thing. The question is, where would he go though? In Premier League for top clubs, there are not many top clubs that would even want him. But yeah, Xavi Simons is only 22 years old. He's very young still. And to be honest, you say he doesn't stay longer at a team for a year, right? More than a year. But that's due to the fact that he's been loaned out like 3 times. Free transfers. Here we go. He was at PSG for free transfer. He goes to PSV on loan. He went to PSV for 4 million with a buyback option. PSG actually used that option, so he got loaned out to Leipzig, and the end of the loan, he's been loaned out twice. That is the biggest thing. And Leipzig bought him for 15 million in the beginning of the season. So it's not like he's a journeyman. There's been a lots and lots of loans. Yeah, because the biggest reason why he's been on loan is because Enrique didn't rate him, didn't want him, because they had Asensio. Now they have obviously they have Doué, they have Barcola. They don't have a place to play him. That is the biggest thing. They just don't have a position to put him in, given the fact that they don't actually also play with a 10/right winger predominantly, out and out. They don't have a position, he just doesn't fit their system. In Leipzig, he fits their system very good. That for me is the big thing. Academy, Barca wanted him. Yeah, it's funny, bro. I'm begging question. No, don't do it. He has decent ball knowledge. Don't do it. He's good, but not win. I actually would argue he's something, exactly something what we need. But to some extent, he's something like Ethan Vanieri, you know? Kinda. Desiree Douay, man, Xavi done, which is going to be bald. Yeah, Xavi Simons is... The issue about Xavi Simons is he's hit and miss at times. That I will give 100%. Now, there were talks that Martinelli had an injury scare today in Arsenal training, but he returned to the pitch shortly after. Whether it was a scare, whether it actually was something, nobody knows, obviously. Do we have many things to talk about still? Lokonga, in surprising, shocking things, with 4 hamstring injuries at Sevilla. Sevilla have decided not to buy him, so he's coming back to Arsenal. What's gonna happen with him afterwards? Not too sure. Whether we're gonna sell him or loan him out. Arsenal are interested in Gyokeres is genuine, and any potential deal is expected to be complex and drawn out. See, this is something I don't want to read today. This is something I didn't want to read today. Because if again, this is the same situation where it's been dragged out like Calafiori for months and a half, or Merino for a month, I'm gonna get tired real quick. If you want, go and sign, but don't waste my bloody time. I'm gonna tell it right now. If you want to go sign him, but don't waste our time. Like, it doesn't take 3 years to sign a player, I'm not gonna lie. But if this is expected to be a complex and drawn out signing, I'm gonna again disappear, genuinely. So Trossard back in training. Rodrigo has spoken on the transfer rumors. Apparently he is very good and he will be back soon. Stop making things up. It looks like he's staying, allegedly, but who knows. Arsenal are ready to give Gyokeres 8.3 million a year, which is about, what, 200 grand a week, something like that. But here is Jurriën Timber not in training. Arsenal are interested in some people I have never heard in my life, I'm not gonna lie. Rosario Central center back Juan Jimenez and Real Madrid Castilla center back Victor Valdepeñas. Nobody know who they are, I'm not gonna lie. If you have any idea, please let me know. Genuinely. But here is one of the big ones. Arsenal maintain a strong interest in Bournemouth attacker Antoine Semenyo ahead of the transfer window. That is a big one. Big up Hendon, hope you're doing well. And all in the chat, it's all good. All good. Thank you for even dropping by and everything. If you haven't already, by the way, guys, smash the like button and subscribe if you're new around here. Road to 600 subscribers is going strong currently. Oh, Leverkusen supporter, big up. Big up, Xavi Simons. It's going to be hard to take it if Spurs win the Europa League. Oh, it's gonna be insufferable. To be honest, it's gonna be tough, but to some extent, it's weird because for me, the actual big rival between those two is Manchester United. And yeah, it's a lose-lose situation either way. I'm not gonna lie. But Semenyo, I don't know. Semenyo is a decent player. He's doing well for Bournemouth. But is he ready for Arsenal? Is he good enough to be a starter for Arsenal? That for me is the biggest question. Especially if we are linked with, like, let's just say with Rodrigo, right? Why the hell we would sign Semenyo? Especially if Bournemouth want about 60 million or 50, 60 million for him. And we can buy Rodrigo for about 80. That's 20 million only on top. It like make sorry, it makes zero sense to me. So I don't know. It is what it is, I guess. I don't know. Let me know what you think about Semenyo in general. Let me know what you think. Let's quickly check this. Wait. Since there are since there's World War III happening in the chat about Xavi Simons. Xavi Simons this season in Bundesliga, 24 games, 9 goals, 7 assists. So 16 points in 24 games starting 3/4 of the season. 5 games in Champions League, 0 goals. In Deutsche Pokal, 1 goal, 1 assist. Mostly plays number 10, right wing or left wing. Let's check his stats. Let's go last season. 975. Oh, here we go. Last season, 18 goals, 13 assists in Bundesliga. So he had a very good season last year. Mostly played as a left winger though. That is, I think, why Arsenal maybe could be going for him. He mainly plays left winger. So I guess it is what it is. But yeah. Anyways, I wanted to check this. What's happening here? Real Madrid are losing to Mallorca 1-0. Vallant scored. Oh, this is fantastic. Look at this. Mallorca. 0.06 XG. This is for all the stats nerds out there. 0.06 XG. 39% possession. 1 shot. 1 on target. 1 goal. By the way, if Real Madrid lose today, right? If Real Madrid lose today, Barcelona are guaranteed that they're gonna win the La Liga, by the way. So it's a must-win game for Real Madrid, and they're losing currently. So that's going well, isn't it? You want to see the Madrid lineup? Okay, quickly before we go, Madrid lineup. This is the Madrid lineup. This window. Let's do it this way. So it's more in the middle. Does it look here? Okay. Yeah, it does. Madrid lineup. Endrick, Mbappe, Bellingham, Modric, Ceballos, Güler, Valverde, Ramon, Asensio, Garcia. Their defensive line is such a makeshift defensive line. See, look at the injuries Real Madrid have, by the way. This is injury list of Real Madrid. Alaba, Camavinga, Carvajal, Diaz, Militao, Lucas, Lunin, Mendy, Rodrigo, Rudiger, Tchouameni, and Vinicius Jr. These are the injuries Real Madrid are currently holding. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. They can build the whole 11 of their injured players. Dude, it's actually nuts. Actually nuts. Genuinely. But hey, it is what it is in that regard. Hato and Frimpong and Liverpool will be next Dutch sensations for me, Marlon. Hato, I don't know if he'll sign for Liverpool. They're going for Gyokeres. Frimpong actually might, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, I think on that note, I'm gonna end today's stream. Not feeling too hot myself, as you can tell. Probably been coughing throughout the whole stream, and it's not pretty nice, I'm not gonna lie. So for today, I think I'm gonna sign out. So if you haven't already, smash the like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. Have a nice evening. Have a nice day tomorrow. Hopefully I can see you tomorrow if my voice is not dead and gone, pretty much. But yeah, for today, I'm gonna sign out. Gonna relax. Gonna drink some hot tea and stuff like that. But yeah, take care. Big up to everyone. Big up to Coach, Hendon Gunnar, Marlon. Be careful what you wish for, and all everyone who liked, who commented, who interacted. You have been fantastic today. You are legends, and see you guys very, very soon.